Today, we're talking solar.
Today we're here to talk about our solar system.
Yeah, so we're really excited that we are actually GoPower ambassadors, and that means that when we were researching the different brands and products we wanted to use, one of the ones we were really interested in was GoPower. Way back in the day, we actually watched them on Gone with the Winds, and we knew we liked their products and that they did a really good job explaining everything. And we figured if it worked for them, it would work for us. They're really heavy into electric as well, and we like that. GoPower is also in Victoria, and so there were several things we liked about them. When we reached out to them, we were really excited that they agreed to partner with us. So what that means is that they did provide the product we're talking about today, but we haven't been paid for our opinion or this review or anything. So whatever we say is what we believe, and as we do installation videos in the future, you'll see exactly how well or not that goes for us, and that's all on us, not on them.
Yeah, so we ended up getting the 1140 watt system, which is 690 watt panels. They're rigid panels, which is sort of what we wanted anyways. A lot of people like the flexible panels, and they're great, but we have so many flat spaces on this boat that it allows them to be raised up a little bit, so we don't have the heat issues that you get with them being on the boat. So it comes with 6 panels and 2 Mppt controllers and all sorts of other stuff that we'll be talking about.
Yeah, so we decided this is a little bit of an unboxing video, but something I've always been confused about, and partly I think it's because I'm really impatient and I just want things to work, is how you actually get from the sun to, say, a cup of coffee. There were a lot more components in that box than I was expecting. So we're going to take you through each thing that came in the package, but also kind of tie that together in the lineup. Like, how do we go from the sun to the plug in the wall, and how is all of that power created? So this is a little bit of an unboxing, a little bit of an info video, and we hope you find it useful.
Yeah.
What's here?
Oh, we got our solar panels.
Yeah. Very exciting delivery today from GoPower. We chose this all-in-one solar kit. So this is for the house batteries, or the house system. 1140 watts of solar.
To get it inside.
Yes. So this is the kit we got. Comes with lots of stuff. We will be unboxing and showing you all of the components. But so far, one nice awesome box. Super easy. Super quick delivery. It was here like in 3 days. Same here. Oh, the boxes within the boxes. So pretty. Made in Canada. So, of course, one of the most exciting aspects of this kit is the solar panels. Comes with 6 of these 190 watt panels. So they're a good size. You can see they fit really nicely on Luja. In a minute, we'll show you where some of the other ones are gonna go. They've got this metal frame. GoPower says that the way they're constructed, they can be used in really extreme conditions. We don't really plan to take Luja in extreme conditions, but it's also nice to have that option, know that they're not going to go anywhere in too much weather. I was really interested reading about solar panels to actually find out how they work. I'm definitely not a scientist, but what I learned was that solar panels, which are also known as photovoltaics, which is why you might see them referred to as PVs, take the sun or the power from the sun and actually use that to kind of mix up some of the photons inside. So I'm picturing these little dudes like bubbling around in there, like when you open a can of pop. I don't really know if that's accurate, but I think it's close enough. So all of that jiggling around of the photons creates the power, and that's what these solar panels are actually doing. There's some really technical stuff about how one layer is seeded with a negative electron and the other layer is seeded with positives, and I really don't understand that. I don't think it's too necessary, but I think it is pretty cool to have a general idea of how we get from the heat of the sun to power in our boat. Now, a nice thing about these solar panels too is that they can be partially shaded. So if they're a little bit shaded, you will still get some power, not as much, but you're not going to lose the whole panel. It's a little bit like those old school string lights for Christmas, where if you had one bulb go out, you lost your whole Christmas tree. Now the newer ones, they kind of are able to skip, and so you'll just have the one bulb out and you still have power down the line. As far as I understand, this is kind of a similar concept. But because there is going to be shading, and Luja has these funny angles where we're not going to get sun equally on both sides, we're going to split our 6 panels into 2 sets of 3. So those 3 panels will be wired together in series, and they'll come into the boat. What that means is that when it's shady on this side of the boat, really sunny on this side, this set of panels can be working at max power while this set is kind of dribbling in. If we had them all wired together in series, they only work as well as the weakest link. And so that means when you're in the shade, you will lose a little bit of power in that shady side. So by splitting our package up into different sets, we'll hopefully eliminate some of that loss due to shade. And of course, up here in the Pacific Northwest, it is shady, it is cloudy. It's nice to know we'll always be getting a little bit of solar, but when it's really sunny, we do want to max out that power. So Torrin's going to come up in a second, and he's also going to show us how one really cool thing GoPower did was make the boxes for these the perfect size to use as a template. So they actually suggest doing that. These are nice and light. It was super easy to get it up here and move it around. But until they get those solar panels that are lighter than a sheet of paper into production, it's nice to be able to use cardboard and not risk dropping something off the boat while you're doing your measurements. So like we said, the box for these is perfectly sized to use as a template. So Torrin's just going to demonstrate that quickly.
So we've got room for one solar panel here, another one on the other side, as well as another one in the middle. So that's 4, and then we've got space down the sides that we can actually, they just fit on. Not that you can really see down there, but
yeah, and those will be really good to catch rising and setting sun.
And then in the future, not that this solar arch is anywhere near complete, but we can put panels up on top of here.
Yeah, and that will be much more stable and attached, welded together, but right now we're just sort of in progress. Also, I guess a good time to mention, you may have noticed this video has jumped forward almost a year. We were really excited to share this with everybody, and so we are fast forwarding, but don't worry, starting with our next video, we're going back to where you were just after we built that walkway. So little sneak peek here, this is what's to come. And you can see where we are in real time in August of 2021.
So the GoPower all-electric kit comes with everything you're going to need to wire up your boat, and this here is the wire gland for entering the boat or your RV, and attached to that is 25 feet of positive negative cabling to get it to your Mppt controller. So the gland lets us bring these wires through the boat or your RV roof, and it's a sealing surface so that you can seal this down to your unit without any worry about water ingress. So it allows you to bring the cables in without getting the water coming in as well, which is very important especially here in the Pacific Northwest where it rains all the time. So yeah, it's good to have a good gland keeping the moisture out of the boat. So with the kit, you also get a hardware mounting kit that has all your different, I think they're called Z-clips, to raise the panel up off the surface, as well as screws and bolts to attach it to the unit. And there's one bag of each of these for each one of the solar panels. And then there's also a bunch of different wire, cable pieces, and zap straps or cable ties. And yeah, all sorts of different stuff to route the cabling. So when you've got your panels in series, you're gonna put the gland towards one end of one set of panels, but by the time you've gone through that series, you're quite a ways away from where your gland is, theoretically. So this cable is meant to bring back the cable back to that other gland so that you can have both the positive and negative flowing into the boat. And from the Mppt controllers, we got this 4-gauge cabling, which should be good to run from the Mppt to the batteries. And it's already mostly pre-done for you. So they give you 2 different sections of positive cabling. One to go from the Mppt controller to the battery, or I should say from the Mppt controller to the fuse, and then one to go from the fuse to the battery. So in the GoPower all-electric kit, it comes with 2 solar isolators to isolate the power that's coming out of the solar panels before it gets into the Mppt controller. In case you have any problems, you don't want to have live power running to that, so you can just switch it right off, and then you can safely work on your Mppt controller without any power incoming into it. After your Mppt controllers, you can feed them both. Mppt controllers feed into this fuse, and that lets you have a hard fuse in case you have any wire problems or anything like that. So then this will trip and you won't have a fire and burn your boat down. So this goes just before the batteries, after you have come out of the Mppt controllers. So we have the GoPower 3000 watts Inverter Charger. And with that, we're going to do a separate video for this in the future explaining more, but this will take our solar power and let us make coffees with it, which is the final goal, right? With the inverter, we'll take DC power in, and it converts the DC power into AC power, allowing us to power our AC appliances. The GoPower all-electric kit comes with 2 60 amp Mppt controllers. They're nicely packaged. Sort of a quick start guide. Here we have the actual Mppt controller. It's nice and heavy. It's got a big heatsink on the back. Got our wiring locations coming out the bottom. And And this Mppt controller is nice because it will do multiple different battery voltages. And we're hoping that since it says that we can do a 48 volt battery, we can use this also to charge our 48 volt bank, which we will have because we're running electric for our motor. Yeah, so the Mppt controller takes the voltage that you have coming from your panels, which depending on how many volts, like how many panels in a row you have, whether they're in series or in parallel, it's not going to be coming in at the correct voltage for your batteries. So with this unit, you can select what voltage you want, depending on your batteries, and then this will then put out the exact voltage that your battery needs. So if you're running, like we're running 3 panels in series, which should be putting out a bit over 60 volts. So we wouldn't want to put 60 volts into our 12 volt battery bank because it would fry it. So this will take that 60 volts, do a bunch of stuff converting it, and then it'll spit it out at whatever voltage you've selected, being 12 volt, 24, 36, or 48 volts, which allows us to charge our battery banks. So when you're charging your batteries, it's very important to know what temperature they are. So this Mppt controller has a battery temperature monitor, so you just stick that onto the side of your battery, never onto the top, because there's a sort of like an air gap there that doesn't detect the heat properly. So you can put it right on the side of the battery, and then it sort of knows based on the type of battery that you've selected and the temperature it is, how fast it's been charging and whether it's overcharging or whatnot. So it's good to have. So one super cool thing that we found with GoPower is that the packaging makes sense, and they've got this cool little sort of instruction panel, so it tells you a little bit of information about your installation and everything, but it also has the holes poked in it so that you can just use this as the template to where you're going to hang your actual Mppt controller, which is super helpful because this is not a light unit and you don't really want to be trying to hold it up on the wall and drill and screw bolts into the wall. So this lets us pre-do that all and then just slide this guy right in place. So we have a 4060 solar controller remote, which I'm thinking is the interface that shows on your wall where you can see what exactly your Mppt controllers are doing and what your voltage is and how much power you're bringing in and all those other fun facts. So we'll know if we've got a problem, how full our batteries are, all that important stuff. So here we have the Bluetooth dongle. So this will go attached into the Mppt controller, and it'll output a Bluetooth signal, which allows us to monitor everything from our phones anywhere within Bluetooth range. So should be anywhere on our boat because our boat's not too big, but yeah, so it's great. Be able to just wake up and check the power.
And that's about it for this episode explaining how to go from the sun to a cup of coffee. Of course, we can't make that cup of coffee just yet because nothing is installed, but don't worry, it will be soon, and of course we'll be showing you how all of that goes. Also, we are an electric boat, so expect videos coming up that talk about solar as it pertains to range and power and how Luja travels around the local area. In the meantime, thanks so much for watching and have a great day.